Introduction. This day is quite different from yesterday. Although the sun shone and dimmed upon the earth, and the foundation of my home remains the same, this day feels different than yesterday. For not all individuals, I suppose, but a specific community of thinkers who once was lost and longed to be whole feels a difference about the day. Community of people who are up in the sunrise and laboring when the sunset, finding just enough time to write in the fading midnight blue. The sun begins his rise again just before the rooster crows. That is a 24-hour day scientifically, but when writing, time is lost in creation. Most times, so am I. A person who overthinks loves to observe the world so we can loosen theories from others and decide for ourselves right from wrong. Writing eases the racing thoughts that are planted by people, nature, and self. I believe every individual yearns to tell their true thoughts. We all express it in different forms throughout society, like within art, fashion, interior design, or our body, expressions connected to our thoughts. Keep an open mind throughout this book, but even murder is a form of human expression. Killers create scenes for others to observe. The placement and the timing, the how and why, all come straight from one's thoughts, the creation maker. Maybe it is a calm form of insanity I have. My mind is a run of sentence that others may comprehend, although I tell myself they do not. Writing hides us overthinkers. It is an outlet, an expression of who we are without speaking. Writing is entertaining, should make humans see themselves, even though there is a touch of fiction in every story told. Be mindful that the storyteller is undoubtedly real, and every word comes from a place. So what does this story say about me? Am I poor? Am I broken? Am I loved? Am I a father? Am I a man? Am I a son? Am I intelligent enough? Am I free? Chapter 1. And it fell on a day. The northern man was desperate to move away from his home, his warm bed, and his blue. He did not have any money, no inheritance, no assets, and no profitable skill. He buried the recklessness within his body, near his heart, so that he can be a man, one that takes care of his family. Invisible thieves with a pen took a piece of the northern man's mind and thrown it across the deep a long time ago. Therefore their tree was forever blessed, and his was barren. He did not know it until yesterday. He did not think about it until yesterday, nor did he recognize the amount of damage the past inflicts on his present life and his family tree. Yesterday is the day he felt a piece of himself missing. He did not know what to do, where to go, so he used what wisdom he could find within himself. He aggressively began searching in the soil of the hill where his mothers and fathers lived, but could not find peace of mind there. Ran through the fire-baptized church into his backyard, where family from Northern Hill are buried, people he have encountered and people he never will. Those shared memories brought on silent grief to the man. Quickly he ran out of the field, further from the hill now. He arrived at an unfamiliar schoolhouse, stopping for a drink of water and a map. For the first time in his life, he saw men and women running from their current state of affairs just like him. The scholars were on a perceivable right path, but quickly he came to find out all students chasing money were training to join the group of invisible thieves directed by their perspective of happiness. As he sat at the schoolhouse, he grew frightened by the thought of joining a society that excludes people from the hill. but stayed a while longer, finding interest in learning their thought process. The thought process of the invisible thieves, he calls it. That is the DNA of history, archival documents, such as court records, research reports, polls, books, declarations, and more. These recordings in the garden never dies. He fell in love with the good and the bad. 4 years later, when the bell rung at school for the last time, the man was alone again, searching for himself. He noticed a few students heading into the woods after the ceremony. He read their mischievous minds and followed them. Into the woods, the characters become strange. They wander aimlessly through it in hopes of finding paths to gold. While on their way back home or far, far away, every moment gets a hold of them. Takes them through a story with a beginning, middle, and an end, illustrating deep thoughts and reflection to conflicts that arise in hopes of helping someone else or releasing emotions. The man's story is the same. Somehow, the man feels comfortable walking at night among scholars. Everyone is in competition, controlled by chemicals and materials, killing himself looking for financial gain or overeating as a traumatic response to poverty, or killing himself looking for peace of mind. The man found himself west of the hill, where the burning bushes always lit. He smelled the mischief and it tickled his heart. This is the furthest part of the woods people from the hill would explore. He realized he was an adult there. Airplanes cannot fly over the burning bush. Too many smoke clouds fills the air, keeps lost people stuck. He sat at the bush and met a lady, getting to know Blue now. The man felt compelled to stay a while longer, away from his family. Trying to compete with his peers to join the invisible thieves, he realized they liked his backstory. A poor child, raised in a broken family, living in a high crime area, attending urban schools, graduates from college, first generation. The invisible thieves loved this. But the man found out they want you to leave that person behind when you sign up to be on their team. And the man could not seem to let it go. When things were not working out for him in the West, he ventured out again alone, attempting to start new and work an honest man's job. He earned enough money as a lumberjack to rent a government-owned shack, buy dinner, and take care of Blue. But yesterday, the man walked all over the city, down into the woods, past the burning bush, until he reached a body of water he could not cross by feet. The man had to decide whether to go back up the hill or find a way across. He planned for obstacles such as pointy thorns, but an obstacle like crossing a deep body of water he was not prepared for. He came so far yesterday and then up south, and yet not far enough, still closer to home than he is away. Feelings began to develop that heated his forehead, screaming defeat once again. His head felt heavy, legs began to weaken, hands trembled, eyes commenced to pulsate. He thinks he is going to die. From where he stood at the water, the man could spot a tree log a few feet away. His mind told him to get to it. Just get there, he said out loud, before he mustered the strength to stumble towards the log. The man sat down and closed his eyes. He learned This helps him to catch his breath in hopeless moments, but in reality, it only leads to calmness. He can fall asleep right here on the log, out in the open, no cares about who needs him or which strangers come along to bother him. He is tired. All the man desires to be is free, in the midst of all things, like sitting on a tree or feeling sand underneath his feet, near water that stretches further than his eyes can reach. He wonders, how can he see the sun warming the dark soil, supporting the green grass all around him, when the sun seems farther than the land across the way he cannot even reach? He turned around and seen the same land known to him, his birthplace, a poorly constructed city on a hill, surrounded by gray skies from the industrial lifestyle and heavy smokers. The hill leads down south to this waterfront the man finds himself at, pondering about how to cross water that kills with no accessible resources, like a boat. The only thing he can do is wait. Maybe a stranger will come by and offer him a ride on their boat. Maybe his boss can loan him the money. Maybe he can find a date with a boat. Maybe he can find someone who owns a boat and take it from them. These are his only options at the moment. Which one is better than the next? While sitting on a log all alone, in the midst of all things, he is confronted with self-doubt and guilt for not knowing what a person does in moments like this, when a person wants to achieve something, but do not have the resources to do it. The man shrinks at the thought of going back to his rundown shack, where he resides with his family of choice, 2 miles away from his mother's home towards the east, and 3 miles away from his father's home towards the west. The man cannot bother to ask for help. Everyone has their own respective family. While sitting and waiting, he started to brainstorm a way to escape from where poor people have been tamed to never leave and find themselves. He lifted his head towards the little glimpse of sun left in this day, hoping for a miracle or a Bud Light thought. But images of his lived experiences only showed him ending up lost at the water, carrying only thoughts, his freedom, and the clothes on his back. He wondered if this is what it means to be impotent. There was a twinkle in the deep, changed the man's mindset from grief. The man wondered if his mind could be across the water. Maybe it is waiting for him to come find. But yesterday, he turned around and went home, feeling hopeful, although no one came to the water with a boat. He cannot swim, had no money. The twinkle in the deep gave him the idea to keep coming back until he is across. Home looks better on the inside than it does on the outside. Blue and their pup waits for him with the television on and to finally eat dinner. This is his chosen family. While on his way home, a child's voice came forth in his head and privately said, "Who would have thought you, a family man, one who is devoted, influenced by the idea of happiness. It is an aspiration fulfilled in the eyes of God. You used to think no one would care about you. Remember those emotions spilled out into journals early on and then faded as time proved right and wrong. This family man lifestyle he prayed for, he admires. Back in the city now, he passes a toy store and thought if only he had a child to carry on the lineage and groom the tree. Some just want to see themselves in this world. Some truly want to give love and be loved. Some only want a child to live through. But the man knows at this moment a family is not complete in the eyes of God, in the eyes of individuals who believe in structure, nor in the eyes of his parents. Without a child, they are the reflection of a happy or bad home. People who eavesdrop can easily tell when something is wrong at home by looking at one's child, and the man knows his shack is a ticking time bomb. The truth is, he wants a son. The truth is, he wants a daughter. It is an experience in this world, like all aspects of life, that he wants to have and naturally desires without eavesdroppers or external forces coming from the hills, coming to put us under. He wondered if children across the water thrive better. Are they happy when they wake up in the morning? Are they happy when they go to bed at night? Across the water, do traumatic experiences prevail? Thinking about his present life makes him disregard the thoughts and feelings that swell in his body over being a father. The shack and blue rent from his employer is too small, especially for a family of 4, but a good size for a couple, a pup, and no money to move. The child will have nowhere to sleep. The child will have nowhere to run to other than the water that no man in his family has crossed. How would the child eat when him and Blue can barely afford 2 meals a day, hot water, and gas? The man stresses this form of lifestyle. It's a selfish way for the child to grow up. A poor head start to life. Having a child is a want that costs, but it may be worth it on the other side. The man continued his walk home, remaining alert to traffic around him, all while speaking to the invisible voice inside his mind that speaks back to him. Images of the water is pounding in his head, telling him to explore it, whether it be his mind, gold, or room for his family. There was something over there, waiting for him to come and find the desires of his heart, like being on the good side of sovereignty. At last, he may finally feel well done. People from the hill may laugh and say this is just a dream. No one has ever made it to the other side. No one has ever owned property or opened a business. Nothing in this town belongs to them. What makes you think it will happen for you over there? Do not cross the border, they warn him. The grass is not always greener, but the man cannot help himself. He has to find out if the grass is purple, and what if purple is good? The man felt the raindrop upon his forehead and told himself to stop strolling, daydreaming, and just get home. But the narrator in his head, he mouthed off too constantly, confirmed these thoughts of leaving the life he knows behind, has always been there, will always be there until he tries. The wheel lingers on his shoulder. It was there every waking morning as a child, and it is there when he lays down in bed at night. Finally, after he settled home, when he closed his eyes to rest, the inner voice spoke his language, for the narrator has known him for 29 years now. He initially misinterpreted the voice as God. Yesterday while at the water, he deciphered the tone like his great-grandmother's. The thoughts are conversations oftentimes held as she sat in a leather rocking chair next to a cracked window with him seated on the floor beside her. Although she did not have a roadmap to success, she stared out the window and expressed what she saw for her grandchild outside the paths of the hills. She was saying, do good, be good, do something with yourself. And she encouraged him to take care of his mother. Yesterday, her language broadened in his mind. The lessons became easier to comprehend as a poor man now, educated in the hills by people who claims to know the way out with their skill set in researching invisible thieves. A voice told him to get to the log when he felt himself about to pass out. It was clear and concise. He remembered and needed to hear more from her beyond the graveyard now. While eating dinner, he had a thought to run back to the water and just sit by it. Someone would eventually ask if he needs help, but if not, he had a gut feeling an answer would come if he just sat there. The wind blew his mind back to the window where his grandmother sat in her bedroom, and instead of the vague dialogue, she asked him about himself. What do you want to accomplish? That stands like a tree, long after you are just debris, the thing that makes you eternal like dusty artwork, never free. And he heard, listen to me and you will see how the enemy left me here to observe and report the paths I take, to serve you in the dark, correlating our days spent at home with my lonely walk through the woods. Although my way to cross the river and be free is where your journey begins. Use your erratic mind to navigate your way out. Think about your mother. Be cognizant of the bumpy paths your father warned you about. Know that if you move down rather than up, a body of water awaits, where a man might have a boat. He will be nice enough to let you sail away if you greet him with good manners and possibly a shared grievance. He will see civility and say, I'll have to help this poor man. But when you finally reach the deep, watch out for a timid woman instead, who may fear your physique, hurrying away in her boat before you can say the lines rehearsed. Did she believe no one would come down here at the same time as her? Do not blame yourself or her. She was waiting for darkness to show up. It's how her father trains her to be, and you so happen to stand in his place at the wrong time. That is not a boat you should be on anyway. Do not chase anyone who is scared. Let them sail away, my son. That is what we do up the hill. But once he made it to the log, her voice went away. Yesterday, the man was confused, but soon pieces came together as he laid down to sleep. That spoke about trusting the process and utilizing knowledge gained and upholding civility. These were aspects of life hindering the northern men and women from sailing away, too busy looking to people and things, which only stands in the way of getting out of these poor man hands.